So hello and welcome to this webinar today. And between Vislink and Mobile Viewpoint, we're going to talk today about AI sports production and producing events cost effectively. And today we have a number of presenters. Michel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Michel Buijs, Managing Director, Mobile Viewpoint. My name is Martin, Sales Manager at Mobile Viewpoint.
And I'm David Edwards, Product Manager at Vislink and Mobile Viewpoint. And I just wanted to talk about how I think of Tier 1 sports production today. Michel, I was wondering, what's your favorite sport?
Yeah, in the past it was skating, David, but these days it's more soccer, to be honest. Skating gets a little bit boring. Always the Dutch are winning, so I want to see some more excitement.
So often the way. And for me it's rugby. So when I think of live events, and I'm thinking of rugby at the moment, you watch the multi-camera shoot, and in that production, it shows you the flow of the game. If you're using wireless cameras at the touch side, then you get a close-up view of the action, and that's really great. The production team do a great job of telling the story. But also, beyond that, I think of at halftime and before the event and after the event, you get all the expert commentary, and that really, as a sports fan, brings you into the event and builds the excitement, and you have that discussion point, those arguments about was a foul committed, was that a try, all of those things that build the excitement. And again, the production to show the discussion happening, that's something that involves me as a sports fan. But these days, it goes beyond that because there's social media, and we know that the broadcasters, they put out the best of the event, the tries, the goals, the fouls, and that creates a discussion point between the viewers. And we know that particularly the young people are engaging much more often on social media now. And social media can take on a life of its own. And that enables you to tell a story and for the fans to engage with the event long after that event is finished. And so in doing that, in sharing video, because we know from a Convivia status streaming report that a 30% increase in video and social media increases fan engagement by over 100%. So we know that video clips of a live event are really important in fan engagement and extending the life of that content onto the next game. And so from all of that, at Mobile Viewpoint, we've been thinking about how can we enable the production of a live event and do so on events that aren't Tier 1, fulfilling the expectation of viewers beyond those Tier 1 events. And a lot of that comes from trying to replicate what you see in Tier 1, but in a cost-effective solution. And so at Mobile Viewpoints, we have a number of products which we think do enable people to produce that Tier 1-like experience, but for a fraction of the cost. And so we can think of IQ Sports Producer, and we'll just start with a short introductory video about IQ Sports Producer.
Televised sports production has been the same for a long time, but now it's changing. Meet IQ Sports Producer from IQ Video Solutions. With the power of artificial intelligence, professional productions can now be created without an on-site camera crew, and thus at a fraction of the cost. The AI has a high level of automation. It tracks both the ball and the players. It overlays the scoreboard and graphics, and it creates highlights and replays. High quality, easy and affordable sports production has never been so easy. Tap into new possibilities with IQ Sports Producer,
so I think that's
from IQ
really good
Video Solutions.
And then we can talk about how IQ Sports Producer can track that action.
IQ Sports Producer from Mobile Viewpoint uses high-quality 4K cameras to give superior image quality. Advanced AI technology detects a player and ball action. The AI engine can track the action even if the area of play is momentarily obscured. The video image is processed to deliver and direct an engaging broadcast production with smooth pans and zooms just like a professional camera operator. Audiences are brought to the heart of the action,
and
sound
IQ Sports Producer achieves that by doing some sophisticated stitching and debonding. Do you want, Michel, perhaps you talk us through the capabilities that we use to get that stitching and high quality production.
Yeah, as you see, actually, the IQ Producer runs on a center camera. It's actually not a single camera, actually a stitched together camera, actually 4K lenses, actually 90 degrees turned. And they all stitch together, create a big panorama of, in this case, a soccer pitch, but it can also be a rugby pitch, as David was showing earlier. And then the trick is that with the AI, we find the players and the ball, of course, and that we then make a virtual cutout from this panorama that it looks like a real camera. So when you look on TV, you get a de-warped image again. So the idea is the whole time that you look at a real cameraman, but in fact, it's virtual. It's going over this panorama the whole time.
Which is really, really powerful. And I think the quality of the lenses that we put into the camera systems by IQ Sports Producer really make a difference, don't they? Martijn?
Yeah, it's all about the camera quality, David.
That's right. So where we've gone with that is we've just introduced a new camera solution, which is the Stellar Cam.
With Mobile Viewpoint IQ Sports Producer, create live professional sports productions without an on-site camera team, now with an outstanding level of quality you haven't seen before. The new Mobile Viewpoint Stellarcam is designed for artificial intelligence-powered live sports production and is a new addition to our range of cameras, fulfilling the need for automatic coverage of demanding sports in high quality. In combination with our PTZ camera and the power of artificial intelligence, our AI system can be deployed for a fraction of the cost of a full production crew, allowing you to economically bring new events to viewers or free up resources to capture new and exciting content. The Mobile Viewpoint Stellarcam is now a key component of IQ Sports Producer, the platform of choice for automatically capturing live sporting events.
So Martijn, take us through how we can do a multi-camera shoot in IQ Sports Producer with multiple cameras and how we can position those.
Yes, since we are active in the broadcasting environment, people got more demand for real broadcasting quality, and that also requires multiple cameras. So in the picture here, you can see we have a center camera, which creates the 180 overview of the field. And besides that, we also have extra cameras close to the 60-meter line, close to the goal, to create a real broadcasting experience. And besides 25 and 30 frames, we can also offer this in 50 and 60 frames.
And that gives us a full production quality, just like you see on Tier 1 events, doesn't it? With those high-quality cameras and full frame rate production.
And automatically switching between those cameras as well, David. So they're automatically switching between the center camera, the panoramic camera, as we discussed before, and shots from the side cameras, all based on the location of the players and the ball again.
That's right. And so not only do you get those nice tracking shots, you also get the different camera perspective as maybe the play moves up to the goal area, just like you get in a Tier 1 event with a full multi-camera shoot. And we can support multiple sports as well, can't we, Martijn?
Yes, you can see here a short list of the sports we support. So mainly we can do field sports such as soccer, rugby, basketball, handball. For all of those sports, we have different AI algorithms because a ball with soccer is of course different than a puck with ice hockey. And besides that, ice hockey is a much quicker sport compared to soccer. So we have different AI algorithms to track those sports even better.
That's great. And it's not just the AI cameras, because with the IQ Sports Producer, you can also bring in other camera feeds as well. And so again, when I think back to a Tier 1 production, you sometimes get interviews with teams at full time or half time, and you can bring in extra camera feeds. Those camera feeds might be a wired line camera, or they might be a Vislink wireless camera. And so maybe today you're shooting an event just with one cameraman at a sub Tier 1 event. You can keep that cameraman at the event, and he can now bring extra content, those interview type shots, into the production as well, whilst the AI system does the tracking cameras automatically.
Yeah, so with one cameraman, you create a 4-cameraman shoot, David.
Exactly. And of course, you've still got that social media engagement as well, because with IQ Sports Producer, you have the ability to record the content and export it, don't you, Michel?
Yeah, and you can also create clips on the fly, actually. So while the game is running, you can create very easily clips via our link matrix web-based management system and put them on social media right after the goal or right after the important event of the match.
Which is really, really good in involving people who are following that match live on social media rather than live on TV. But I talked at the beginning about how the production of the match is one element, but also there's the discussion element and the involvement and the expert commentary. And that's using a different tool that Mobile Viewpoint has. And in fact, it's the tool that we're using to speak to you today over the vPilot system. And that's an automated studio production system that enables you to have a multi-camera studio production shoot and produce that content automatically. So we have another short video which will introduce vPilot to you.
Imagine a broadcast studio that does not require a production crew to create a professional production. Through the power of artificial intelligence, this is now a reality. Meet vPilot.
And so with
Mobile
Viewpoint's vPilot system, you have a multi-camera event. Do you want to talk us about that?
Affordable, engaging with your audience.
Yes, with the vPilot, it is possible to automatically produce a studio presentation as we're doing over here. We're using actually AI technology to find people in the studio, also where they are standing and where their head is, so that you can automatically control PTZ cameras to go to the right direction. And also based on audio cueing, we can also automatically switch between the different shots. So if I'm talking, I get more shots than we both talking, for example. And also it enables you to also play content. So if you are as an host, you can also start playing videos from the vPanel. That's a separate device we deliver with a solution. So you as a host can actually do your complete studio production without the need of a cameraman or a director.
Which is really good. And so, Martijn, there's various algorithms within the vPilot system, aren't there, which talk about who's speaking and switching.
Yeah, you can add specific rules to the system, all based on what a director or cameraman usually would do. So you can see when I start speaking, it automatically switches to my shot. I have a minimum length of my shot, but also a maximum length. So it will always switch automatically to the next shot, which is the overview shot, as you can see right here. And now it moves back to my close-up shot.
And all of that adds pace and interest to the viewer, doesn't it? So it's not a continual single shot. It maintains the interest of the viewer. And it also has the ability to react to movement as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's based on movement thanks to the 3D sensors. So if I start moving inside of the studio, the systems can really track my position. So if I'm quite tall, so it can create the shot based on my length. But if I'm quite small, it can still adjust the shot based on my length.
Which is really, really useful. So you can have the talent, the on-screen presenters who can just walk into the studio, stand in the approximate position that they need to be, and you can be live with those presenters in moments. And so the combination of all of those tools, maybe today on a tier 1 event, you have an expectation that the viewers have on tier 1 event. But if you want to produce content that is not tier 1, it's sub tier 1, and you can only afford a small team at that event, now with these AI tools as assistants to you, you can have the ability to replicate what can be a multi-camera shoot. You can have the ability to replicate what might be an in-studio discussion piece of programming associated with it. You can take the cameramen who were previously at that event and you can keep them there, but you can move them down maybe onto the touchline to create additional content for you, to create a really rich production, as well as having all of those clips of the exciting moments to hand as recordings, which you can bring onto social media to engage with that audience. So really what we're saying today is that with all of those things, here's an example of the Mobile Viewpoint IQ Sports Producer automatically producing some soccer content and tracking that action and following the flow of events with pace that can be produced automatically for you. Alongside the ability to have video clips and bring in those automatic action replays with on-screen graphics, if you like, obviously on-screen graphics for the score and the time clock, and you have all of that at your disposal. And then we have the ability to do that production of studio content and have all of that expert analysis, which you can do and man that production team automatically with AI systems, moving and tracking between all of the different speakers. And so those combination of tools we think is really, really powerful. You can obviously share your content and publish your content. Maybe you want to do it over a social media channel, video platforms such as Facebook Live or YouTube, or maybe you want to monetize your content a different way with the Mobile Viewpoint OTT service. Do you want to tell us a bit about that, Michel?
Yes, we recently launched yourteamstream.com. That's our OTT platform for all clubs and leagues that want to broadcast video with their own advertisers, with their own sponsors. Because if you go to the well-known social media, you cannot create just advertisements of your own sponsors. So you have to use the ones provided by Facebook and YouTube and the others, of course. But with your team stream, you're totally free to add your own sponsors, to do your own overlays and do everything as you like it. And on top of that, you can also get some money back of it, because we also offer you a so-called paywall that you can actually get viewers to pay for subscriptions or for a pay-per-view.
So all of those options are available to you, or perhaps you're producing this event and putting it out on traditional linear production channels. All of those options are entirely possible. And as we said, the ability to access all of those clips, all of those highlights, and push those directly out onto social media. So you can engage with viewers who are watching live, you can engage with people who are participating over social media live, and you can extend that viewer engagement on the social media platforms after the event has long since finished. So to sort of summarize all of this, with all of those tiers that Mobile Viewpoint have, we can now offer to the production teams the ability to produce content much more cost effectively, to generate new revenue streams, because perhaps you're producing content that previously you couldn't afford to produce, and you can move that content beyond the classic linear platforms, either onto social media channels, onto online video platforms, or OTT services that perhaps you've built up yourself. All of those things are now possible, but for a fraction of the cost of a full multi-camera shot that maybe will continue to exist, of course, on tier 1 events for a long time. So now it comes to a Q&A section. And whilst you're typing in your questions, we'll just play a short video for you, and you can find the questions, the text chat down on your screen, and you can type those in. But we'll just play that video.
Imagine a broadcast studio that does not require a production crew to create a professional production. Through the power of artificial intelligence, this is now a reality. Meet vPilot by Mobile Viewpoint. With vPilot, you can create a professional production that is easy, fast, and affordable. Engaging with your audience through broadcasting has never been so effortless. vPilot offers a fully automated multi-camera studio with artificial intelligence controlling the cameras and the shot selection. You don't need any behind-the-scenes crew. With the studio management tool, you can easily set up preferences for the virtual director, such as shot types and lengths. The vPanel gives the talent flexibility at their fingertips, allowing them to add graphics, inserts, or cut to an external camera when they see fit. Live streaming and online publication is fast and easy. You can stream to any video platform you want. So, start broadcasting with the power of AI with vPilot by Mobile Viewpoint.
Let's move over to the questions.
So we've got a few questions that have come in. I'll read off the first one, and obviously keep on typing your questions and we'll answer them as best as we can today. So first question I see is, what's the difference between your platform and those from competitors? And Michelle, I don't know, do you want to talk a bit about the cameras that we use compared to some of the sort of webcam type things and some of the AI technology that we put into the tracking?
Yes, David. Yeah, I think that the big difference between us and competitors is that many of the competitors focus more on the kind of leagues or high schools or amateur clubs to bring them live on the social media. While we are more focusing on creating a high quality production ready for TV. And it starts with a high frame rate camera, as David was just addressing, so that you can provide 50 frames. Because I don't know if everybody noticed it, but if you take the standard security type of solutions and you watch on a real TV screen, it is really stuttery video. So you need to have high frame rate cameras. On top of that, what you see on TV normally when you watch a match, you see quite a zoomed in image, and it requires a high quality of the AI. So really tracking the player, tracking the ball. And that's something where we spend a lot of time on to really deliver accurate shots that are more or less same as you see on TV. So not the zoomed out image you normally see from a training or from an amateur match, for example.
That's really good. And I think there's also differences between things that go out of play, balls that go out of play, or players that go out of play, and we can identify what is the area of play and what isn't as well, can't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yes. So that you create really a shot that you expect also what you normally see from a real cameraman, that he follows the player when he leaves the pitch, actually, and he got a fault or actually has an injury or something.
A different question. Does this mean the end of camera operators?
No, I don't think so, Martijn. No. What we see actually, David, there is also a bigger opportunity for the kind of AI-assisted productions, we think. Because when you normally look now at TV at the more lower tier matches, so third league, second league, fourth league, there's a single cameraman doing it at the moment. So there is one guy from the middle doing everything. And it can be sometimes really be stuttery. But with our solution, you can actually keep that cameraman, but add more cameras. So create with one cameraman a 4-camera production. So this real cameraman is still there for, as you also shown during the presentation, doing shots of the coach or the trainer. But on the other hand, he can also be there live during the match to make specific shots when there are specific situations, like a discussion with the referee about a red card, or there is perhaps a fight on the field that sometimes happens, not per se with soccer, but with other sports like ice hockey, you see that happening sometimes. And then this cameraman can make them beauty shots because you don't want to show this on TV, of course. So that's one of our strong visions.
So it's really an opportunity to do more, isn't it, rather than
replace.
Yes.
Yeah, it creates opportunities.
Okay. Another question. Can this be used for college sports which are not broadcast or streamed yet?
Yes, definitely. It can basically use for any sport. During the presentation, we showed a list of the sports we currently support. So yeah, it can also be used for college sports, which are currently not being broadcasted or streamed. And via our OTT platform, we also offer new opportunities to broadcast and stream the content.
And to monetize. And I was just saying something about that. I say college sports are most times zoomed out videos. But of course, that's also many times a requirement from the coaches of those colleges, because they pay many times for the installation, and then broadcast is more a second thing. But we can provide both. So we can provide the more zoomed in broadcast type of feed, but on the other hand, we can also provide a zoomed out AI stream at really the same time for coaches and analytics understand and can actually real time tell the coach what to do or what to change.
Yep. Really good. I think a slightly technical question here. What's included in the hardware for the platform?
The platform contains a single server, and that single server is able to handle 6 cameras. So one center camera, and then setup of 4, and then 2 side cameras for close-up shots from the goal or behind the goal. And that's a single server. And if you want to do more above that, then you need to add extra hardware which slaves on the first server that does the main AI stuff, actually. So, and we recommend to do the server on site because the streams from the cameras are quite high bandwidth. So you could potentially move it to the cloud, but then the internet connection of the venue need to be at least 400 megabits. And you will find that actually quite a lot these days, but that's not everywhere. So if you're not sure, go with the server on site.
And we can scale the production, can't we, from numbers of cameras and types of cameras, depending on what sort of tier you're looking to produce.
Yeah, Yeah, of course. We're using high quality cameras, but of course it are not broadcast cameras of 40,000 a piece, that's for sure. So yeah, but we can of course control those. It is more about the AI, the algorithms and the control of the camera. Then we talk about the type of camera. We only see that, of course, really good cameras also have a much higher price. But if customers want it, that's no problem. And also if they want a 10 camera production and they already have 6 cameramen. So we can be the 4 extra cameras and just controlling with a PTZ head and real broadcast camera, no problem.
And is it the same sort of solution for the studio production that we're using today?
It's the same thing actually, David. Yeah, Martijn knows more about it, but what type of cameras do we support, Martijn?
For the studio setup, we basically support any PTZ camera that supports the protocol FISCA over IP. So that's the protocol we use to communicate with with the cameras. And in our experience, every camera brand does have a camera with the FISCA protocol.
And they differ in price. So the Panasonics we use over here are, when they bought them, around, I think, 7,000 euros.
Yeah.
But we also use smaller, more Asia-based cameras of 1,500 euros, and they also are good. It depends on what you want. The colors for these cameras are probably better, but yeah, if you only go on YouTube, then perhaps it's a little bit a waste of money to invest in high-end cameras. But it's all up to you. We can control everything, as Martijn is saying.
We have another question. I think someone is thinking about the sports production solution. How does the score and clock interface work?
The score and goal interface, we actually have 2 solutions. One solution that's available today is via the Link Matrix, our web-based control platform, where you can actually watch the game and manually change the score, or you leave OCR. We also have an OCR feature that OCRs the scoreboard and updates automatically, but you can control it from the Link Matrix, so you can follow the play and also even start replays. You can create replays over there. And what's upcoming is actually an app for the iPhone and the iPad that you actually can do it also from there, both in the venue and remote, so you can also do remote commentary. And then we make sure that everything is synced using our own sync protocol. So when you sit at home, that the audio gets synced again with the stream that's coming from the AI solution on the pitch.
So another question. How easy is the setup the panoramic cameras and the 2 other cameras? And how
you should have done it once, David. So the first time it also takes more time because you have to get used to several things as well. Do you put the camera high, far away from the pitch, close to the pitch? Where do you put the side cameras? But of course, after the first time, you know more or less where to go to. And then the only thing you have to do on the pitch there, you do a small calibration. So when you look in the Link Matrix of local on the server these days, you have to mark where are the corners of the pitch. And where you do that for the side cams and the center cam, and then the whole system knows where everything is based, and then you're done. So it's still you have to do some wiring, cabling. You put the cameras, cabling, and after that, a short, I think, 10 minutes calibration. Of course, you have to change the position press of the camera. Of course, you don't like it, but that's it.
And I think you might have covered this extra bit. How do we produce the content with the AI technology on site or in the cloud? I think you've mentioned it could be both.
Yeah, it can be both. So the AI technology runs on hardware from NVIDIA, for example, the GPU data based, and it can run in the cloud and local on a server. And it really depends on the bandwidth between your venue and the internet. So if there is enough bandwidth, then you can do it in the cloud or actually somewhere on your own premises. You host the server and only bring the cameras to the venue. And if that's not the case, then you can bring everything on the venue, and then we produce a lower bitrate broadcast stream or analytics stream right away.
Okay. A question from Sean. What is the recording formats? Perhaps we can also talk about the different frame rate formats we can support as well.
It's MP4. I think we record everything in MP4, and we also have the streams available in HLS live. So it is a bit depend on what you want, but by default it's MP4 format.
Yeah, and we can forward those streams to basically any platform via RTMP, for example, or indeed HLS.
So you can be up on YouTube or Facebook Live, or using Mobile Viewpoint's own platform as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also in the Link Matrix platform is also a possibility to transcode. So I don't know if a lot of people are aware of it, but on Facebook you can do maximum 720p. So you have customers who produce 1080p and then go directly to YouTube, but also want to go to Facebook, and then we can on the fly transcode the video to 720p to match both platforms at the same time.
Okay. Last question. If people have got more questions, obviously type them in. The last one that I can see that's come up is what's the connection between the IQ Sports camera and to the server? Is it streaming over UTP? Is it what's our connection?
Yeah, most of the systems we have these days are over UTP. So there's a UTP cable between the camera and the server. We deliver most of the time also a PoE converter with the system, so you can power the system over Ethernet. We also have some setups where cabling is not possible, and then we can use the Wi-Fi dishes.
Yeah, so we can do a wireless link,
Yeah.
or actually also fiber sometimes, but then you have to power the camera locally, because then power over Ethernet does not work, of course. But there are many possibilities. But most people go for power over Ethernet because it's easy to set up. But if you have big venues with multiple pitches, then you right away get in a more complicated wiring setup. But most times it's also fixed. People won't carry it around. It will be a one-time installation most times.
I don't see any more questions, so I think it's worth saying that if you want to carry on the discussion with Visink and Mobile Viewpoint about these solutions today, obviously you can schedule a meeting with your account manager. If you're not sure who your account manager is, then obviously you can contact us by replying to this meeting invite and following the links there. So that can be done. But I think we need to say thank you for attending today. I hope it's been really, really useful to you.